Hey guys, Brad Danger here, and let's talk about something that nobody wants to admit, but everybody sees every single day. The truck. Not just a truck, the truck. The lifted, spotless, $70,000 never touched dirt grocery getting, ego boosting, driveway dominating modern American truck. Because trucks didn't just get popular, they took over. They replaced sedans, they replaced SUVs, they replaced sports cars, and somehow, along the way, they stopped being trucks. So, what happened? Why did we go from lightweight, raw, driver-focused machines to 6,000-pound leather-lined skyscrapers on wheels with cup holders for your Stanley and your emotional support and security? And more importantly, are trucks actually winning, or are they quietly collapsing under their own weight? Because this story, it's not just about trucks, it's about identity, it's about marketing, it's about money, and it might be one of the biggest shifts in car culture ever. Let's rewind. Because trucks used to be simple, like aggressively simple. We're talking bench seats, vinyl floors, crank windows, no nonsense. They were tools. You bought a truck because you needed a truck. You were hauling lumber, towing something heavy, dragging equipment, working a job that destroyed vehicles on a daily basis. And because of that, trucks had a very clear identity. They were honest. They didn't pretend to be something they weren't, and they sure as hell didn't cost as much as a luxury car. But then something changed, not overnight, not in one model year, but slowly, strategically, and very intentionally. Car companies realized something. Trucks had one massive advantage over everything else: margins. They make way more money on trucks than they do on sedans. So what do you do when you have a product that makes you more money? You sell more of it. How? You stop marketing it as a tool and start marketing it as a lifestyle. Suddenly, trucks weren't just for work, they were for you, the modern guy, the guy who maybe doesn't work on a farm, maybe doesn't tow every weekend, maybe spends most of his time in an office or behind a desk or on a laptop, but still wants to feel like he could build a house and wrestle a bear and survive in the wilderness if needed. That's where trucks exploded, because they became something way bigger than transportation. They became identity machines. And here's where it gets interesting, because trucks didn't just become more popular, they became everything. They became comfortable like SUVs, they became fast like muscle cars, they became luxurious like German sedans, they became family vehicles, they became status symbols, they became daily drivers, they became the one-car solution. And on paper, that sounds unbeatable. Why have a sports car that only does one thing really well, when you can have a truck that does everything pretty well? But here's the truth. Nobody wants to say out loud. Most people don't use their trucks like trucks, not even close. We're talking people who maybe tow something once a year, maybe throw something in the bed a handful of times, maybe deal with snow occasionally, and yet they're driving something built to survive a construction site every single day to go get coffee. That's the disconnect, and it's massive. Now, look, before you jump into the comments, yes, there are people who absolutely need trucks: contractors, farmers, people towing boats, trailers, campers, people dealing with rough terrain, heavy loads, real-world use cases. For those people, a truck makes perfect sense. No argument. But that's not the majority. Not anymore. What we're seeing now is trucks being used as a solution for problems that don't really exist. People want space. People want comfort, people want visibility, people want something that feels safe, people want something that feels powerful, and trucks deliver all of that, even if you never use the bed, even if you never tow, even if you never leave pavement. And then there's the other side of it, the part that's a little harder to talk about: status. Because let's be honest, trucks have become the new flex. It used to be sports cars. You wanted attention, you bought something low, loud, flashy. Yo guys, quick pause, because this is super important. The giveaway is live right now, and we're giving away this fully built, dripping in carbon Supra, 4 months in the making. And guys, it is the Tuner Hero spec, plus a Shelby GT350 with an exhaust that sounds absolutely ridiculous. So, if you want to win, you've got a decision to make. Do you get the JDM Legend, or do you get the American Icon? And guys, for a limited time, every purchase that you make on the site, which is pinned in the first comment down below, you get 2,000 bonus entries to win one of these cars, plus bonus cash, hat, shirt, entry pack. It don't matter. That's 2,000 extra chances on top. And Rocky from New York grabbed a quick entry pack last time and walked away with the GTR plus bonus cash. So yeah, it definitely happens, and we're running it back with 2 cars. So which one you picking? Let me know in the comments down below and go get entered as well, and good skill. Now, that same attention comes from something tall, wide, and aggressive. A brand new truck sitting clean in a parking lot. That's a statement. It says you've got money. It says you've got capability. It says you're that guy. Even if realistically, you're just commuting to work. And here's where trucks really flip the game. They got good, like really good. Modern trucks are insanely fast. Some of them hit 60 in 5 seconds. They ride smooth. They're quiet. They're packed with tech. They've got massive interiors. They're genuinely nice places to be, to the point where driving a truck daily doesn't feel like a compromise anymore. And that's dangerous because now there's almost no downside except one, cost, because trucks didn't just get better, they got expensive. We're talking 60, 70, 80, $90,000 for something that used to be the cheapest, most basic vehicle on the road. And people are buying them every day, sometimes stretching way beyond what they should, because that identity, that feeling, that image, it sells. But here's the twist. This is where the fall starts creeping in. Because trucks might have gone too far, they got too big, too expensive, too disconnected from their original purpose. Too good at everything, but not great at anything. Think about it. They're not as efficient as a sedan. They're not as fun as a sports car. They're not as easy to drive in a city. They're harder to park, harder to maneuver, and increasingly harder to justify. And people are starting to notice quietly, slowly, but it's happening because once you strip away the image, you're left with a question. Do you actually need this, or do you just like the idea of it? And that's where things get interesting, because the same thing that made trucks explode might be the thing that brings them back down. We're starting to see smaller trucks come back, more practical options, more efficient designs, because not everybody wants a full-size monster anymore. We're seeing people reconsider. Do I really need this much vehicle? Do I really need this much payment? Do I really need to burn this much gas? At the same time, sports cars never actually died. They just got pushed into the background. They became niche. They became enthusiast only. They became something you buy because you love driving, not because it makes sense. And that's powerful because passion doesn't follow logic. So now we've got this weird split. On one side, trucks doing everything. On the other, cars doing one thing really well, and people stuck in the middle trying to figure out what actually matters to them. Because here's the reality. Most people can only have one car. So they pick the one that covers the most scenarios. And right now, that's the truck. But that doesn't mean it's the best choice. It means it's the safest choice, the most versatile, the least likely to leave you stuck. And that's why trucks win. Not because they're better, but because they're harder to regret. And that might be the most important part of this whole thing, because buying a sports car is emotional. Buying a truck, that feels rational, even when it's not. So is this the rise or the beginning of the fall? Honestly, it might be both. Trucks are at their peak right now, more popular than ever, more capable than ever, more profitable than ever, but also more expensive than ever, more oversized than ever, more disconnected than ever. And history tells us when something gets too big, too expensive, and too dominant, something else eventually pushes back. Maybe it's smaller trucks, maybe it's crossovers, maybe it's performance sedans, maybe it's EVs, maybe it's a return to enthusiast cars. But one thing is for sure, the truck didn't just change the market, it changed what people think a car should be. And whether you love them or hate them, or you're just somewhere in the middle, you cannot ignore what they become. Because the modern truck is no longer just a vehicle. It's a statement, a solution, a compromise, a flex. It's kind of everything. And that's exactly why it might not stay on top forever. So let me know what your opinion is on these trucks, the big trucks, in the comments down below. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you like rolling coal? Let me know. Also, like, subscribe so we can get to that 2 million subscriber mark this year. I'm Brad Danger. This is Ideal. Catch you next weekend. Promise me one thing. Keep living the ideal lifestyle.